What if I told you that the 1099 MISC might be the IRS's quiet acknowledgement of settlement, and it's been sitting in their system this entire time? In this video, we're going to break down the 1099 miscellaneous, which most people think is just for some side gigs, contractors, and it actually might reveal how debt is settled behind the scenes and how it can actually help support your discharge process. Now, before we dive into this video, if you're brand new, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get this video to 500 likes because this is the last day, and it's not the only day I'll talk about this, but this is the last day of our 1099 marathon. Obviously, there are more 1099 forms out there, but thank you guys for staying tapped in while we talk about the 1099 and the truth behind it and how it ties to debt discharge. This is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. All my rights are reserved. This is also not tax advice. Please consult a legal professional. Do your due diligence. Consult a tax professional before you employ any of these strategies that I'm about to talk about today. Okay? Now, my goal is to pretty much break down the mystique of the 1099. So we're going to pretty much tell you guys exactly what the 1099 MISC is and how it applies so that you can be able to get remedy. So let's dive straight in. So what is the 1099 MISC form, or the miscellaneous information? Is an IRS tax form used to report certain types of income other than wages or non-employee compensation. Okay, so for those of you guys don't know what it looks like, I could pull it up right here. Looks very familiar to the other types of 1099 forms. Okay, it's commonly used to report contractor payments, rents, prizes, royalties, and legal settlements. You get what I'm saying? And it's typically filed with the IRS when someone receives over $600 in miscellaneous income. I hope you guys are really catching on what I'm about to put down. But here's the twist. It's also used for insurance proceeds. It's also used for third-party settlements. And it's also used as income in lieu of services or debt. So it does apply to the debt conversation that we're about to have today. Okay. Now, the question may be, how does the 1099 MISC used for debt discharge? And we're going to go ahead and dive straight into it. Okay. Now, at face value, the 1099 MISC is just for reporting income like freelancing to pay or rent. But in the world of banking, trust, and hidden settlements, it can also reveal off-book transactions that discharge your debt without your knowledge. So again, typically discharge is already happening without you even knowing. Okay, it's been happening. This is why when we're having this conversation with a debt collector, we are literally asking them to just disclose what's been happening behind the scenes. Because when it comes to a contract must have a meeting of the minds. Okay, so here's how it happens. Number one, your debt is paid by a third party behind the curtains. So let's just say you default on a loan. And what most people don't realize is that typically when you default on a loan, the bank usually gets reimbursed for whatever you defaulted on. Okay, the bank is made whole through FDIC insurance. If you look on any type of banking institution, you'll see FDIC insured. If it's FDIC insured, then insurance broker pretty much pays out any defaulted debts. Okay, so you are insured no matter what. They also get paid through surety bonds. All right, they get paid through credit default swaps. They also get paid through reserve pool payouts and treasury offsets. So they typically get paid no matter what. Why? Because of the simple fact that it is connected to an estate. Your straw man pretty much creates this money and credit out of thin air. And all that's typically happening is them reporting your certificate of indebtedness. And the thing is that they can make money off of anything that you sign. Okay? But here's the thing, as it ties to debt discharge. Once they get that third party payment, that is income to them, and it is sometimes reported as miscellaneous income on a 1099 MIC. So with the 1099 MIC, again, this could break down what money has been released that you don't even know about. Okay. And typically, if this gets filed on anything that is connected to any of your accounts, you should be getting a copy for yourself. I hope you guys gather it. That is one of the most fundamental keys of any contract, is the fact that it should have full disclosure. I hope you guys gathering that. I don't care what argument you could give me. A contract must have full disclosure. You dig me? Another thing when it comes to the 1099 MISC is the fact that they got paid, and what it indicates is that they got paid, but the problem is that they still bill you even after they got paid through those many different forms of ways that they get paid outside of you using this dollar. Okay? So even after being compensated, the lender, they don't disclose it, which is a violation of contract law. Okay? They still have claims on the full debt. I can see if they said, hey, you only need to pay us part of it, okay, because we monetize the other piece of it and we just need this other half. That would make sense, but they claim full. They still come after you for the whole debt. Even when you have charge off debt, they still come after you for it as if that hasn't been paid already or charged off, okay? And they also may sell it to a debt buyer who then tries to collect double through you. So typically, if it gets sold off to a debt collector, or if a debt collector is reaching out to you, then that original creditor has already made money. Maybe the argument is not about the contract being properly written, but maybe your argument is going to be about whether or not they monetize the contract, or whether or not they have already been paid and this collector is trying to get a double payment. Sometimes your argument is not, okay, well, trying to prove that the debt has already been discharged or whatever the case may be. No, if you can claim that, hey, look, I understand and my truth is that the debt is discharged because of X, Y, and Z, that's it. They will have to prove that that isn't the case. All right. I get people to say, well, what should I say to this, to this company on why it's discharged? I mean, it's discharged because you guys sold it. It's just that simple. Until you guys can prove that you guys didn't sell it, then we have a good case. Now, obviously, you want to go to the sec.gov and see if there's any filings. You want to see if there's any, servicing or pooling agreements to prove this, and that will enhance your argument. But simply asking them the question about the securitization of your note and the chain of assignment, if they don't provide that to you, that'll be a violation of 15 U.S.C. 1611. All right. Now, if you can prove that they received the 1099 MISC payout, and it will support the position that the obligation was satisfied and they just never told you. See, when it comes to these 1099 forms, and again, for anybody who's been tuned into all of these 1099 videos that I've dropped throughout this week, it's a pattern of some undisclosed or non-disclosed information that has to get reported to the IRS. So the IRS will always be able to reveal something that they won't reveal. Okay? So who might file a 1099 miscellaneous? A insurance company, a government agency, whether it's the Treasury or the Federal Reserve, a guarantor or investor who backed the note, and even a private trust handling hidden strawman assets. So this is where you can utilize, and this has been a pattern all week, Form 4506, which is an IRS request for transcript form. You can go on the IRS website and you can pretty much look this up. You can even print this out and fill it out and send it in. Okay? This looks like it has an online fill-in, so you can fill it in, print it out, and you can send this in. Okay? But you can get transcripts or anything that is connected to your SSN or connected to your straw man. Okay? So it allows you to be able to pull IRS records under your SSN and see what forms were filed behind your back. It doesn't matter if it's 1099, MISC, 1099Q, 1099B, C, A, whatever the case may be, K. You can be able to fill out this form and get documentation of any tax returns that are connected to your name. Okay? So that is how we're tied to and how it may be used in debt discharge. And again, I wanted to make this video because I got a comment again on Steven's video, a person talking about 1099. And for some reason, there is an aspect of 1099 being, you guys think it's like, you know what I mean? Like something that is like like money that's just going to be released to you. But that's not even the case. Okay. These 1099 forms are recording forms. Okay. So they record information, especially when it comes to where the money, where the money came from, or if there was income of some sort, they have to pretty much report it. All right. So when you look at the 1099 MISC form, again, this has to do with freelance pay, insurance pay, whatever the case may be. If there's information out there on the 1099 MISC that they made income from your name, it's going to be there, and you can request the transcripts for that. Now, I want to talk about some example scenarios, okay, when this could be used in a real life situation. So, number one, for insurance or surety payout. Let's say you default on a loan. What happens is that will end up triggering an insurance claim or a surety bond payout, okay? The lender receives the funds, but instead of showing the account as paid, they keep billing the borrower, which builds up a double recovery case. That payout may be reported as 1099 MISC income. Now, it's not always going to be reported as that. They can report it as something else. They can do a charge off. They can do whatever, all these different types of 1099 forms that can connect or record a certificate of indebtedness. Okay. But specifically, 1099 MISC is for miscellaneous income. All right. Number two, another scenario is just through a treasury offset or reserve payout. If the bank receives a treasury or a Fed-backed settlement, which are public funds covering a private debt, it may be recorded internally as miscellaneous income, especially if no matching 1099-C or 1099-A is filed. So again, this is miscellaneous income, and it will show you if the treasury has offsetted or if the Federal Reserve has paid them out for a particular reason connected to your debts. Okay. And then number three, legal and trust-based settlements. In the UCC and private trust circles, some people file a 1099 MISC to report funds paid on behalf of the debtor. This establishes an IRS recognized record of settlement or relief of obligation. So just to expound on when people file a 1099 MIC, because I think that this is the real question, can you file it? Okay. Some people file it because it can tie to private banking, trust law, commercial discharge tactics. It's a bold strategy, but it's not random. So here's how it works and why people do it. Number one, you will file a 1099 MIC, right, on the aspect of bringing up that commercial truth. If you settle a debt on someone else's behalf, that's income to them. And the IRS wants that income reported. So if you, acting as a trust, secure party, or a third-party creditor, send a remittance, bond, or private instrument to settle another person's debt, your strawman or estate, you can use a 1099 MIC to report that value as income received by the original creditor. Okay? Now, here's the theory behind it. Okay, and I'm only saying it's theory, but this technically, it's only a theory if it's unless you can prove it, we'll just call it a theory. Okay, but my goal is to pretty much reframe this into a argument that has legal merit behind it. Okay, so number one, you will be operating in private capacity. You create a bond, remittance, or instrument of value. You issue it in good faith to settle the debt. The alleged creditor receives your instrument. They may do one of three things. They may ignore it or fail to return it or silently accept it through tacit agreement via dishonor, meaning they don't say anything at all. Okay. When that happens, you want to file a 1099 MIC that would report the value of the bond remittance as income to them. So if you filed a remittance coupon and that remittance coupon was worth, let's just say $2,000, okay? $2,000 remittance coupon, you would then file a 1099 MIC, okay? 1099 MIC, when looking at this 1099 MIC, you will be considered the payer. The recipient will be them, okay? The income will be however much the value of the remittance coupon, okay? And just taking a look at this, I think that one of the people in my comment section, they was asking me, okay, well, how do I fill this out? It looks pretty self-explanatory to me, okay? Only put where it applies, all right? Now, when you file the 1099 MIC, not only did you put them on notice by, hey, this is what I'm using for full satisfaction, but now you're putting the IRS on notice that they have income from you via the remittance, okay? Via your bond, via your promissory note, via your full faith and settlements, okay? So it becomes a federally recognized record of satisfaction that they will have to disprove, okay? The IRS will see that as if they received something as of value. Now, again, you have to be strategic when doing this. You have to have purpose when you do this, because the whole purpose of this is not so that your debt can be discharged and you, after you file this form, you don't have to pay any debts. Know that this is only putting you in position to create an official record of settlement outside of court. So if they do end up taking you to court, it will be a forced recognition by the IRS that the collector received value, and it will support your position in administrative remedy or a legal process, okay? So in short, if they got paid, you report it, and if they deny it, they must rebut or face the exposure to fraud or false claim charges. All right? So to pretty much break this down and give you like an example flow of how someone would do it in a private remedy. Number one, you tender. You send a private instrument, coupon, bond, or bill of exchange. Wait. They have about 10 to 30 days to respond, rebut, or return. Number three, they're going to go silent, and their silence means acceptance. You can assume their acceptance. After they have accepted, then you dive into filing a 1099 MISC, where you will be the payer, they will be the recipient, and in box 3 and 7, you will put the value of the instrument, okay? In 3 and 7 will be treated as income to them, okay? It'll be recorded, okay? Now, when you do this, you want to attach a form 1096, and this is a annual summary transmittal of U.S. information returns. You will fill this out. You're the filer, and you would check off 1099 MISC. Where is that at? Okay, I don't know. Okay, here it is. You would check this off. You file it with your 1099, and you want to include an affidavit of truth. The affidavit of truth is in my school community, okay? And then you want to send this to the IRS. Keep record for court and administrative process. Now, you have to be very strategic when you do this, because a lot of times people do this on a whim and they're not, really trying to back this up with legal merit. All right. Because you have to be careful, just like for all my videos where I'm talking about 1099-C or any type of instrument, 18 USC 514, fictitious obligations. They may argue back and say that you're trying to defraud them. Okay. But you always come back. Number one, understanding what fictitious obligation. They're going to claim that what you're doing is fictitious, fake, and acting as if you are trying to create a financial instrument to scheme or artifice. Okay. But the reality is you are attempting to move in good faith. And as long as you stay up to date with that communication and you have them prove that whatever you're doing is not right, and you shift the burden of proof onto them, they cannot use this argument against you. But you have to know what you're talking about. Okay. So is this backed by law? Yes, it is. The IRS instructions say that to file a form 1099 MIC for each person to whom you paid at least $600 during the year in income not reported elsewhere. And if you made a payment as a third party, you may be considered the payer for reporting purposes. So if you made a value-based payment on someone else's behalf, which is a straw man, even non-cash, you can lawfully report it. You guys gather that, okay? Now, here's some warning and risk. Do not file without a legitimate value being tendered. Number two, do not file on a hunch. Back it by a full paper trail, meaning you have done the research. You have done the work. Okay? Number three, the IRS will penalize for frivolous or fraudulent reporting, so be careful. And you must know who you are reporting and why. This is a private strategy meant for advanced remedy processes and is not for beginners looking for loopholes. Okay, so if you haven't looked, you don't even know it's a simple FDCPA, Truth in Lending Act, contract law foundations. You don't understand a trust model. You don't know how to communicate with a debt collector. This is considered an advanced strategy. A simple strategy is a simple debt validation letter to your collection company. But when you are starting to go deeper and you're trying to challenge that creditor and things of that nature, you're going to get to more advanced territories. This is why most people fail, because they're trying to do beginner stuff or have a beginner mindset trying to attempt advanced strategies. This is why when people talk to me and they say, hey, look, well, I want to learn about this. Have you learned about this form and that form and this form and that form? But I tell them, coming from a place of someone who actually researches this and looks this up on a daily basis, everything that you will always argue whether or not they are telling the truth and have them prove their truths. Okay, it's never a case where you're gonna fill out a form and now it's like, you know, somehow money got released to them or whatever the case may be, and you're trying to find that money that was released. It's not even that. It's already recorded. You feel me? You recorded that. All right. So yes, it is backed by law. Be careful and make sure you understand those warnings when you decide to do this. Okay. So if you file anything when you are doing this, okay, just to break it down one more time, if you offer a bond, notes, remittance, or offset and it was accepted or not rebutted, then you are reporting it as miscellaneous income to them. It's just that simple. If you decide to tender, use a promissory note, bill of exchange, and you want to continue on with the process, it's not that you'll be sitting there waiting for them to say, oh, the account has been discharged. No. I filled this out, and because I did this and I sent them something of value, this is the 1099 MISC. Okay? So be careful. I know that the 1099 MISC may be something that one could get excited about, but just like every other 1099 form, it just records and reveals something, and it positions you to have that supporting evidence so that you can challenge them in the future if they ever try to take you to court. If you have this type of evidence, they cannot deny it. I don't care what anybody says. And don't let these lawyers play semantics on you and say, well, that doesn't mean that. Okay, send that to me in writing, and I'm going to present this evidence in court, and I'm going to show them that you told me that this doesn't mean this. I promise you they won't send it to you in writing. So only file the 1099 MIC when you feel like you are comfortable with the law, you understand, and you've done your due diligence. You only want to do it if you feel like you have lawful standing. You only want to do it if there is a real transaction, and you are doing this to create a paper trail and not just freelancing the form. The form is not something to be used on its own. Okay, so if this video made you rethink the 1099 MISC, drop a comment that says miscellaneous means more. MISC means more. Okay, and if you want me to walk you through how people pair this with a 1099C or a 1099 OID for a full discharge strategy, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you hit the like button. Also tap into the school community. The school community, I'm putting together templates, resources, and materials so that one can be able to go and get the course material and be able to get the templates that I create based off of these YouTube videos. Okay, remember, you can do all this stuff on your own, but what I am going to offer you is 7 days free, a part of my school community, so that you can be able to tap in and gather the knowledge and see what you're getting before you actually stick around. All right. Number 2, if you want to work with me one-on-one, particularly on fixing your credit and getting funding, I also accept one-on-one sessions. If you have a particular situation and you want to learn how to be able to overcome that situation, if it has anything to do with consumer law, debt discharge, you want me to break this down more in layman's terms or have a dedicated session to you, book that call too. We'll pretty much sort out where you're at, and we'll pretty much create a schedule where we can sit down and have a talk for about 45 minutes to an hour. Tap into those links down below. Remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Once again, follow me on all platforms. The links will be in the description. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This video is sponsored by the Fund Yourself Academy. My step-by-step system designed to help you fix your credit, get funding, and build real financial freedom from scratch. If you're tired of feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just ready to stop living paycheck to paycheck, this is where it changes. Inside the Academy, I break down everything from consumer law secrets that they don't teach in school to how to remove negative items and boost your score, get access to business funding, and start building multiple income streams online. Whether you're just starting out or ready to level up your game and get the bag, this is your playbook. We've got tools, templates, dispute letters, mentorship calls, private community access, and an exact roadmap I use to leave my 9-to-5 and create time freedom. But only for a limited time, you can get access to the Fund Yourself Academy on a free trial basis for the next 7 days. And then after that, you pay less than $1 a day at $27 a month if you like it. No fluff, just facts and just freedom. Go to the fundyourselfacademy.com or hit the link in the description to join now, because nobody's coming to save you, but you can fund yourself.